Howdy there, fellow folks. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back for the What If series. For today's video, I'll be talking about one of the most greatest bands of all time, and that band is called Queen. In this What If scenario, this is where Queen goes on tour for one last time to say thank you to their fans for over 4 decades. As I called it, farewell, aka the Anthology Tour. So, where did the idea came from? Well, I have so many ideas for Queen, so all my ideas were stretched out way back in October of 2025. But with this one, couldn't figure it out, the story, until early this month in July. That was days ago, but as I'm recording this, it will be July 9th, and the video comes out in the next few days. But during that time, I'd actually figured out the story. So here it is, the story of Queen's final tour, aka the Anthology Tour. Following the conclusion of the hugely successful Rhapsody Tour 2006-2010, Queen had completed what was, at the time, the most ambitious and expensive tour of their career. After 4 years on the road, the band agreed that it was time to take a well-earned break. From 2010 to 2014, Queen entered a long hiatus with each member focusing on their personal lives while taking time away from touring. By 2013 into 2014, Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon began meeting again. What started as a casual get-together soon turned into serious discussions about the band's future. During those discussions, one question kept coming up is, how should Queen say goodbye? The band knew that they don't want to simply disappear. Instead, they want to say thank you to the fans who had supported them throughout every chapter in their career, from the 70s, 80s, 90s, or even the 2000s. After months of discussion, they reached a decision that Queen would embark on a final world tour, a farewell unlike anything that had done before. The plan was ambitious. Rather than a single year on the road, the band mapped out a 5-year farewell run from 2016 to 2020, allowing them to visit as many fans around the world as possible. The final year, 2020, would mark as the 50th year as a band, marking it as a perfect milestone to end their career. Well, in full circle, I believe. But before announcing the tour, Queen wanted to give fans a one last final release. From 2014 and 2015, they assembled a new compilation album called Queen Forever. So the Queen Forever album that we know, that's all 3 unreleased material, and most of them are all fan favorites. But in this one, it's going to be a mixture of fan favorites alongside previously unreleased songs from the band's archives. The group also returned to the studio to finish and record songs they had written years ago earlier, but never officially completed it. And even, as well, the stuff they did live on stage, but never got the chance to record it. And that was it. So the result was released as a 2 CD collection with a deluxe 3D edition that would release in a couple years between that time. So, on July 13th, 2015, Queen held a worldwide press conference to unveil both the new album and the final tour, officially titled Farewell, also known as the Anthology. The band explained that this would be their last opportunity to celebrate the entire musical journey with the fans who had been there from the very beginning. Just weeks after the announcement, rehearsals began as prep got underway. The band quickly realized the scale of a challenge ahead. With more than 100 songs in their catalog, included fan favorites, deep cuts, and newly released archive material, it's impossible to fit everything into one show. Instead they decided that the setlist will evolutionize throughout the tour. But with different songs performed in different years, is truly a represent for Queen's entire history. So the tickets for the dates of the shows were all announced, and then shortly after that, demand was extraordinary. Dates sold out quickly in hours. with additional shows across the world in multiple cities. It's all according to plan. By April of 2016, the Anthology Tour had begun. From 2016 through to 2019, the tour has been one of the most biggest successful live productions in the world. The staging looks freaking unbelievable, rehashing set lists and unforgettable performances here and there, as Queen celebrated every era of their remarkable career. Before we continue the story, here is the set list and tour dates for the 2016-2019 set of the Anthology Tour. However, when you see these dates, it gets a little confusing. So here it is, the schedules. So in the US, we'll be kicking off at Phoenix on April 3rd, then Los Angeles April 4th and 6th, then San Diego April 8th, then Atlantic City April 10th, Washington DC April 11th, Cleveland April 13th, Detroit April 16th, Memphis April 18th, Pittsburgh April 20th, Boston April 22nd, Philadelphia April 25th, Toronto April 27th and 28th, then Montreal May 2nd, and finally New York May 6th, 7th, and 9th. Then we go to Europe. We'll be in Munich February 26th and 27th, then Rome March 1st, then Stockholm March 3rd and 5th, Gothenburg March 8th, 10th, and 11th, then Oslo March 14th and 15th, then London July 2nd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th, and then we end off at Cardiff on July 11th, 13th, and 14th. Then we go back to Europe in 2017. We kick off at Hamburg on April 1st, then Copenhagen April 3rd, then London April 5th and 6th, then Berlin April 9th, Paris April 12th, then Vienna June 18th, then Leeds June 21st, Glasgow June 23rd, Barcelona June 24th, Prague June 27th, then Budapest June 29th, then Bucharest July 2nd, and Barnsley July 4th, and finally in Manchester July 6th and 8th. Then we move the tour to Australia and New Zealand, going to Melbourne in February 8th, 10th, and 11th, then Sydney February 14th, 15th, 18th, and 20th, then Adelaide February 23rd, 24th, and 27th, then Darwin March 1st, then Canberra March 3rd, Brisbane March 6th and 7th, then Lanston March 10th, and then going to New Zealand. So we kick off at Napier August 4th, then Auckland August 7th, 9th, and 10th, and finally at Christchurch August 12th. Then in 2018, we kick off in Asia, going to Seoul March 2nd, Saitama March 6th, Tokyo March 8th and 9th, Osaka March 12th, 14th, and 15th, Beijing March 17th, Shanghai March 18th, then Hong Kong March 20th, Manila March 22nd, and finally Singapore March 23rd. Then we're back in the US, kicking off in Dallas on February 5th and 6th, then Kansas City February 9th, then St. Louis February 11th, and then New York February 12th, 13th, 15th, and then we go to Boston on February 18th, and then we got a runs of shows in April, back to New York on April 25th, 27th, 29th, then Boston April 14th, and then we have shows at Washington, D.C. on April 17th and 19th, and finally at Baltimore on April 22nd. I know the schedule is freaking all over the place. Sorry about that. Then we go to 2019. We're kicking off in Sydney on March 5th and 6th, then Newcastle on March 8th, then Canberra March 9th, then Perth March 12th, then Hobart March 15th and 16th, then Lanston March 18th, then Darwin March 22nd, then Rockhampton on March 24th, then Melbourne March 27th, 29th, and 30th, Adelaide April 2nd, then Townsville April 5th, and finally Brisbane April 6th. Then we're back in the US, kicking up at Tampa on January 31st, then Miami February 3rd and 4th, then Houston February 7th, then Oakland February 9th, then Los Angeles February 13th, 15th, 16th, and 18th. Then we go to San Diego on July 15th, then Las Vegas July 18th, 19th, 21st, 23rd, and 26th, then Phoenix July 29th, then Dallas August 1st, and finally in Atlanta August 3rd and 4th. Now to the set list, it's very complicated set. I'm not sure if people like the set or I don't know. This is a what if story. So this is what I would like to see. So for the 2016 set list, we kick off with an intro as an instrumental of The Night Comes Down. Then we kick off with Now I'm Here, Play the Game, Another One Bites the Dust. Then we have an intro of Don't Stop Me Now. Before Freddie does Don't Stop Me Now, he would interact with the audience and introduce the show. And then after that, like I said, do Don't Stop Me Now. Then we transition to Kill the Queen, then I Want It All, Bicycle Race, Somebody to Love, Let Me Live, but only performed on the second half of the song. And then we go to In the Lap of God Revisited, then Dragon Attack, and then we do a reprisal of Lap of the Gods Revisited. Then we kick off as a new song at the time, and it will be called Let Me In Your Heart Again. I love that song. Then Under Pressure, I Want to Break Free, Who Wants to Live Forever, The Show Must Go On, Hammer to Fall, Radio Gaga, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Bohemian Rhapsody, We Will Rock You, Keep Yourself Alive, and finally, We Are the Champions. Then 2017, we kick off as an intro called Possession, and then we transition to Tear It Up, Keep Yourself Alive, Fat Bottom Girls, Another One Bites the Dust, Seven Seas, Kill the Queen, Somebody to Love, Love of My Life, 39, These Are the Days of Our Lives, Love Kills, Let Me Live in Your Heart Again, I'm Going Slightly Mad, The Show Must Go On, A Kind of Magic, Under Pressure, Scandal, Don't Try So Hard, Bohemian Rhapsody, We Will Rock You, and finally, We Are the Champions. Then in 2018, we go with an intro of A Day at the Races, and then we kick off with Let Me Entertain You, White Queen, Let Me Live, Bicycle Race, Fat Bottom Girls, I Want It All, A Kind of Magic, I Love My Life, 39, Let Me In Your Heart Again, Is This the World We Created, The Show Must Go On, Under Pressure, Hammer to Fall, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Bohemian Rhapsody, We Rock You, and finally We Are the Champions. Then the 2019-2020 set, we kick off with the intro of the Flash Gordon theme, then We Will Rock You, One Vision, Headlong, Breakthrough, Another One Bites the Dust, Somebody to Love, I Want It All, Princess of the Universe, Love of My Life, Let Me In Your Heart Again, Who Wants to Live Forever, A Kind of Magic, The Miracle, Don't Try So Hard, Let Me Live, Bohemian Rhapsody. Then we go through an encore of It's a Beautiful Day and We Are the Champions. Then now, let's get back to the story here. Then came of 2020. The year began with a devastating bushfire incident that happened in Australia, forcing the band to make a last-minute adjustments to their schedule, do some shows in Australia, and then a couple weeks later, of course, the whole world going through a freaking pandemic brought the entire live music industry on a halt. Remaining of the South American shows that they had in their schedule had to be cancelled, leaving Queen's farewell tour has to be unfinished. For the first time, the band had no idea whether they would ever able to complete the tour they had spent years of planning. Throughout 2020, 2021, and 2022, the members stayed in touch through their regular meetings. During that period, they agreed on one last thing. They couldn't let that to end in this way. Fans around the world still devastated the goodbye that they had promised for. Then in late of 2022, Queen officially announced the return of the Anthology Tour. Rather than simply finish the cancelled dates, they decided to expand the tour into a larger, bigger global celebration, adding 3 more years on the road from 2023 to 2026. When the tour was resumed in 2023, audiences were greeted by a completely upgraded production. The stage was redesigned, the visuals are modernized, and many songs received new arrangements. The band wanted these final years to feel afresh while honoring every era of Queen's legacy. So they want this tour to be their final hurrah, and I'm glad it did. However, on their final show, the final date of the show, live in London, where Queen announced on their historic show Farewell Residency night after night, fans around the world gathered to celebrate one of their last concerts they ever done. On 30th December 2026, after more than a decade of a farewell touring for over half a century since Queen was first formed, Freddie Mercury, Brian May, Roger Taylor, and John Deacon took their final bows. The lights dimmed, the music had faded, as one of the greatest musicians and careers of rock and roll history came to a close. Now, here is the tour dates and setlist for the 2020 era. So, of course, in 2020, they were supposed to be they were at South America, but then the 2 dates of the show got canceled. So, they were at Sao Paulo on March 4th, 5th, 8th, and 9th. Then Rio, March 11th and 13th. And then, of course, they were supposed to do some shows at Buenos Aires and Santiago on March 20th, 22nd, 23rd, and March 26th and 27th at Santiago. Then on the US and Australia, but Australia was at the last minute due to the bushfire incident. So they're supposed to be their final year of touring, but they kicked off at Chicago on January 14th and 15th, then Pittsburgh January 18th, then Cleveland January 20th, then St. Louis January 24th, then Kansas City on January 26th, then Seattle January 28th, then Vancouver February 1st and 2nd, then they head off to Melbourne on February 6th and 8th and 9th, then Brisbane February 11th and 12th, and finally in Sydney February 15th, 16th, and 18th. So they want to make a donation to the Australian bushfires, and they did that. Well, in real life, Adam Lambert and Queen, Roger Taylor and Brian May, they were in our shows, but they were touring in Australia at the time while this bushfire incident was happening in real life. So yeah. So now let's move on to post-pandemic era. So in 2023, we combined 3 different locations. So we kick off in US, Europe, and Australia at Washington, D.C. on July 13th. Then Phoenix, July 16th, 19th, and 20th. Los Angeles, July 23rd, 25th, and 27th. Then Toronto, August 1st and 2nd. Then Montreal, August 6th and 7th. And then Boston on August 12th. Then New York, August 16th, 18th, and 20th. Then Miami, August 24th. Then Rome, October 8th. Then London, October 13th, 15th, 16th, and 20th. Then Madrid, October 25th. Then Barcelona, October 29th. Then Perth on November 29th. Then Adelaide, December 4th. Then Sydney, December 9th, 10th, 13th, and 14th. And finally in Brisbane, December 18th. Then in 2024, we go to Osaka on March 27th and 28th. Then Yokohama, April 2nd. Then Tokyo, April 4th, 6th, and 8th. Then Bangkok, April 13th. Then Shanghai, April 16th. Then Manila, April 18th. Hong Kong, April 20th. Singapore, April 22nd. And then we go to South America, kicking off at Buenos Aires on June 6th, 7th, and 9th. Then Sao Paulo, June 14th, 16th, and 17th. Then Rio, June 22nd, 23rd, 26th, 28th, and 30th. Then Santiago, July 4th. And then the tour is moved back to the States in New York on August 18th, 20th, 22nd, and 26th. Then Los Angeles, August 30th, September 2nd and 3rd. Then finally in Toronto, September 8th, 10th, and 11th. And finally in Montreal, September 14th, 16th, and 17th. Now we go to the final popular demand run. That is in 2025 and 2026. So we kick off in Melbourne on May 25th, 26th, 29th, and 30th. Then Rockhampton, June 2nd. Then Adelaide, June 6th and 7th. Then Sydney, June 12th, 14th, 15th, 18th, 20th, and 21st. Wollongong, June 23rd. Brisbane, June 26th, 27th, 29th, and July 1st. Then Perth, July 5th. Then Hobart, July 8th. Then Lisbon on July 23rd, 24th. Then Rome, July 27th. Barcelona, July 31st. Then London, August 3rd, 6th, 7th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Then Cardiff, August 15th. Then Glasgow, August 19th. Manchester, August 22nd. Dublin, August 26th and 27th. Oslo, September 1st. Stockholm, September 5th. Hamburg, September 7th and 9th. And finally, Paris, September 13th. Then we move to a second leg of the tour, kicking off at Madrid, October 28th and 29th. Then Munich, November 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 7th. Then Berlin, November 11th. Then Copenhagen, November 15th. Then Prague, November 19th. Then we're in the US, kicking off at Kansas City on December 4th and 5th. Then Portland, December 9th. Philadelphia, December 13th, 14th, 16th, and 18th. Then Atlanta, December 21st. And then Boston, December 23rd. Then we kick off in 2026 in the new year, kicking off at Austin on January 31st. Then LA, February 5th, 6th, 8th, and 10th. Then Houston, February 13th. Dallas, February 17th and 18th. Chicago, February 22nd. Vancouver, February 27th and 28th. Then Nashville, March 5th and 6th. Memphis, March 10th. Baltimore, March 13th. Then Seattle, March 17th. Now to the final third leg of the tour. Well, the final leg of the final run. So we kick off in Miami on April 3rd, then Tampa, April 6th, then Las Vegas, April 9th, 10th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 17th, 19th, and 21st. And then New York, April 26th, 28th, 29th, May 1st, 3rd, 4th, and 7th. Then Hershey, May 16th. Then to Asia in Tokyo on June 30th, July 2nd, 4th, and 5th. Osaka, July 9th and 10th. Seoul, July 14th. Bangkok, July 16th and 17th. Then Manila, July 21st, 23rd, and 24th. Then Singapore on July 28th, 29th. Then going back to South America for one last time at Buenos Aires on September 12th, 13th, 15th, 17th, 19th, and 20th. Then Santiago, September 24th, 26th, and 29th. Then Sao Paulo, October 2nd, 4th, 6th, 8th, and 10th. Then Rio, October 14th, 16th, 19th, and 20th. Then finally in New Zealand, in Auckland, November 4th, 5th, and 7th. Then Nopia, November 11th. Then Christchurch on November 15th and 16th. Then Hawaii, November 24th. And finally in London, November 29th, December 1st, 4th, 7th, 10th, 11th, 13th, 14th, 17th, 18th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 27th, 28th, and finally 30th. That was so long. Now to the set list. So in 2023, we have The Works intro, then Machines, Radio Gaga, The Invisible Man, Bicycle Race, Another One Bites the Dust, Seven Seas / Killer Queen, I Want It All, Somebody to Love, I Want to Break Free, Love My Life, These Are the Days of Our Lives, Let Me In Your Heart Again, The Show Must Go On, Scandal, Hammer to Fall, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Bohemian Rhapsody, It's a Beautiful Day, Face It Alone, and finally Made in Heaven. Then in 2024, 25, and 26 set list in combined for those 3 years. And we kick off with Innuendo as an intro. Then we kick off with The Show Must Go On, Let Me Live, Headlong, Breakthrough, Bicycle Race, Fat Bottom Girl, Somebody to Love, I Want It All, Love Kills, Let Me In Your Heart Again. However, it will be moved in 2025 after Beautiful Day as an encore. However, for 2026, it will be removed in the set. And then we go with Who Wants to Live Forever, Hang On In There. That will be performed only in 2024. Then we go with Another One Bites the Dust, Dragon Attack, I Want to Break Free, Bohemian Rhapsody, It's a Beautiful Day, Face It Alone, and finally, Made in Heaven. The Anthology Tour had officially came to an end. What was originally intended for a 5-year farewell tour, which was expanded to 11 years. Spanning 6 continents, hundreds of concerts, and millions of fans around the world. It wasn't just a farewell show, it was a celebration of the entire legacy of Queen. Even though the concerts had ended, Queen's music will continue to inspire generations for years to come. Thank you, Freddie, Brian, Roger, and John, for the music, the memories, and everything. The show may be over, but the legacy of Queen will forever live. That is all for the What If series. Hope you all enjoy it. Comment, like, and subscribe. If you all haven't subscribed to me yet, you'll miss out any content I'll be putting out. And hit the notification bell. If you haven't, please do so. Take care of yourselves, and see y'all next time.